Iran's leadership spent decades presenting itself as unbreakable. The Islamic Republic repeatedly told its people and the wider world that Iran would never surrender to outside pressure, no matter how severe the sanctions or how intense the isolation became. Officials promoted the idea of a resistance economy, insisting the country could survive on its own, even while facing growing international pressure. But now, the situation unfolding across the region is beginning to challenge that image in dramatic fashion. Behind closed doors, concern inside Iran appears to be growing rapidly. According to multiple reports, the ongoing conflict and the U.S. naval blockade are putting enormous pressure on Iran's economy. Trade routes have slowed, oil exports are facing major obstacles, and imported goods are becoming harder to bring into the country. What once looked like a tense standoff is now starting to resemble a full-scale economic emergency. Then came a major development. Iran's foreign minister traveled to Russia for urgent talks with Vladimir Putin. For many observers, the symbolism alone was striking. A government that spent years insisting it would never rely on foreign rescue was now turning toward Moscow for assistance at one of the most difficult moments in recent Iranian history. At nearly the same time, President Donald Trump released a statement claiming Iran had informed the United States that the country was entering what he described as a state of collapse. Trump added that Iran wanted the Strait of Hormuz reopened quickly, while leaders attempted to stabilize the situation internally. Whether that statement was entirely accurate or politically amplified remains uncertain. However, the pressure on Iran's economy is becoming increasingly difficult to ignore. For more than 2 weeks, commercial activity tied to Iranian ports has been heavily disrupted. Oil shipments have slowed dramatically, while incoming imports are also facing delays. Satellite imagery reportedly shows congestion building near Iranian waters and throughout parts of the Gulf of Oman as vessels struggle to move through the blockade zone. This creates a serious economic squeeze from both directions. Iran depends heavily on exports for revenue, especially energy exports. At the same time, the country also relies on imported goods ranging from industrial materials to food products. With both sides of that system under pressure, Iranian officials are reportedly becoming deeply concerned about what could happen next. One recent report claimed Iran's Supreme National Security Council held an emergency meeting after intelligence assessments warned about possible unrest in the near future. Officials reportedly discussed rising prices, unemployment, and damage affecting major industries, including petrochemicals and steel production. Some estimates presented during that meeting suggested Iran's economy may struggle to endure more than 6 to 8 weeks under current blockade conditions. It is important to note that these estimates reportedly came from Iranian internal assessment themselves, meaning they may already reflect a more optimistic view from Tehran's perspective. Even so, they reveal growing anxiety within the government, and the economic pressure goes far beyond trade alone. Another major concern reportedly discussed during the meeting was the near-total internet shutdown affecting the country. According to security officials, many online businesses are no longer functioning normally, leaving large sections of the workforce unable to operate. Reports estimate that around 20% of workers connected to internet-based jobs are now struggling, while as many as 2 million private sector positions could eventually be affected. For more than 60 days, roughly 99.9% of Iran's population has reportedly faced severe restrictions accessing the global internet. More than 90 million people are dealing with limited communication, restricted online access, and growing isolation from the outside world. Many analysts believe this reveals what Iranian authorities fear most: renewed internal protests. Officials reportedly believe demonstrations similar to those seen earlier this year could return if pressure continues rising. According to several reports, security agencies inside Iran now view future unrest as increasingly likely. The uncertainty is no longer about whether protests could happen, but when. That growing fear may explain Tehran's urgent diplomatic activity. Iran reportedly proposed reopening maritime routes connected to the Strait of Hormuz if the United States eased its naval blockade. Washington rejected the proposal, arguing that the central issue remains Iran's nuclear ambitions and broader regional security concerns. Shortly afterward, Iran's foreign minister departed for Russia. Russian state media released footage showing the Iranian delegation arriving in St. Petersburg before entering a 2-hour closed-door meeting with Putin and senior Russian officials. Before the talks even began, Iranian representatives emphasized that they were not asking for charity from Moscow, describing the discussions instead as coordination between strategic partners. Still, the timing of the visit raised major questions. Iran has provided substantial support to Russia during the Ukraine conflict, including Shahed drones, missile cooperation, and technical assistance connected to drone production facilities reportedly established inside Russian territory. Some analysts inside Iran now appear frustrated that Moscow has not been able to provide stronger support during Iran's current crisis. Reports suggest Russian intelligence and satellite capabilities have assisted Iran during periods of heightened regional tension. However, Russia's ongoing commitments in Ukraine appear to limit how much additional support Moscow can realistically provide at this stage. Another detail from the meeting also attracted attention. Senior Russian security officials reportedly participated in the closed-door discussions, fueling speculation about possible conversations regarding future military coordination or contingency planning if tensions escalate again. Meanwhile, another serious challenge continues building inside Iran: oil storage capacity. Kepler, a major global energy research firm, recently estimated that Iran may only have between 12 and 22 days of unused oil storage remaining. Since exports remain heavily restricted, excess oil has limited places to go. At the same time, diplomatic negotiations remain active. Sources claim Iran is preparing another revised proposal after Washington rejected the previous offer. Mediators in the coming days could change everything in the region. Subscribe, leave a like, and stay tuned for more updates as this story continues developing.